Hi friends! I am so excited you're here because I'm going to talk about all the books I read in March. March was an awesome reading month for me. I read 14 books. That is so crazy. I don't know how it happened, why it happened, but I'm glad I did. I think a huge thing for that was the Week of Weird that I participated in, and I did vlog that, so I'll link that vlog down below. And yeah, I just had so much fun with that at the beginning of the month, and it was like very motivational, is that the correct word? So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. And then a vlog I ended up not posting was a feminist horror vlog that I did. I realized all of the clips I did it was a vlog, but I honestly didn't do anything else but read in that vlog. And I was like, this is kind of boring. It's not very vloggy at all. So yeah, that's that's why that didn't happen. But starting off with the Week of Weird books I read Paradise Rot by Jenny Hovell. I'm not going to go into great detail about all of these. I think I ended up giving this one 3 stars. Very weird. It's weird. I read it for the Week of Weird. The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. I believe I gave this one 3 stars as well. I liked this one because there's like an evil woman aspect to it and a cosmic horror aspect to it. And then I ended up loving Why I Married a Clown from the Dimension of Death by Carleton Millick. I loved this book so much. It was so fun. I read it in one sitting, which is kind of crazy for me these days to read something physically all at once, and it made me laugh, and it was a page turner, and I really liked it. And then I ended up reading the group short story The Man Who Found Out by Algernon Blackwood. This was another kind of cosmic story, fear of women story, and kind of the curiosity killed the cat kind of theme is what I got from it. It was kind of funny. It made me laugh. I think I ended up giving it like 3.5, 4 stars. And then Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. Oh my gosh, this was shocking. And tonally, I think go into detail about it in my vlog, but like tonally the first half is very different from the last half of it, and it just didn't fit together for me, but I still really liked it. It was very weird, and I gave it 4 stars. If you guys hear talking, my neighbor is talking like in the alley right next to my house for some reason. I think he's on the phone. I don't know why he's there. I guess he lives here. I don't know, but I don't know why he's talking so loudly. But speaking of alleys, I read Alley by Junji Ito for Week of Weird. I ended up giving this collection 4 stars. There was a couple of stories I really liked. I liked Alley in it, and I liked the mold stories, why I actually picked this up for a Week of Weird. And then the ward was really creepy. The inn I think was my favorite, and the ice cream bus at the end. But great collection as always from Junji Ito. So fun and so weird. And then getting into like my feminist horror books that I ended up reading, I read The Unworthy by Augustina Bastarrica. I'm probably mispronouncing that name. This is the author of Tender's the Flesh's new book, and it is a novella. I believe it's a novella. It was very short listen. I listened to an arc from Libro FM, and I absolutely love this book. I was listening to it while running errands, and I literally almost started crying in the grocery store. It's so beautiful, and you just really feel for the main character. It's about this girl who is in a cult, like a religious crazy cult, in climate crisis situation, after climate crisis. It was powerful stuff. It captures that anger about the climate crisis that I don't think a lot of modern books have captured for me. And it's like, oh hell yeah, like there's gonna be some harsh climate justice, hopefully, that happens. And yeah, but overall it is just a sad story, honestly. And this cult is it's crazy. They're very cruel. But yeah, it was so beautiful and so good, and it's so short and it's so crisp, and it just hits so close to home. 5 stars. It was amazing. It was so good. This author is so talented. Then I finally ended up finishing The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. I have been reading this since freaking January. I was like, I think this was my January TBR, and I was like, oh, it's so short. It's 300 pages. It took me so long. I kept putting it down, and I kept picking it up. I kept putting it down, I kept picking it up. This is a very weird story. This would have worked for Week of Weird as well. It is about a woman who is widowed, and she's pregnant, and she goes and lives with her husband's family, and they have this wooden figure there, and it looks like her. And she's like, hey, that's weird. And they're like, it's no big deal. And then it starts to move around, and she's like, why is it moving? And you get to learn like the whole backstory of it. I wanted more from this. I wanted more visual stuff. We got a lot of inner dialogue with this main character, and I just wanted more like visual stuff. I wanted it to be more cinematic, and it wasn't, and I think that's sad because this would make a perfect A24 movie if it just has more visuals in it of the creepy wooden figure. Oh yeah, and there's like more to it. Also, there's a slur in this that's used a lot, and this takes place in the 1800s. There is a time jump to the 1600s, but I'm like, I feel like even back then, like that term, yeah, it was very common in Europe, Eastern European villages and everything, but in the United States it was like not even used. So it takes place in the United States. That's why I was confused. I was like, wait, where the hell are we? Are we in some Eastern European location? Are we in America? We're in America. But I was like, I don't think they use that slur that much here, because we didn't have that population. It's the Romani people. I was like, we didn't have like a huge influx of that ever. So I was just like, I feel like the author just kind of wanted to use it, which is horrible. Yeah, atmosphere was okay. Could have used more atmosphere, could have used more imagery. But yeah, I think we made it 2 stars. It just took me forever. And honestly, I would have DNF'd it if this wasn't on a list. I think it's on Goodreads, like, feminist horror list. I don't know. And then I read a paperback from hell called Blood Fever by Shelley Hyde. So this author has a pen name. I can't think of the pen name right now, but under the other pen name, she's written a ton of other books, like I think 20 other books, that are all seem to be like female focused, which is really cool. But this is so crazy. I read it on archive.org. This book, if you could probably tell from the cover how wacky it is about a group of feminists in the 70s in a small town that have a fever, and the fever makes them kill men. Praise the Lord, right? I loved the beginning of this because it sucks you in. There's this really great action sequence in it. And then it drags a bit, and it is like a bit kooky and like what is actually going on here situation. It went a bit too scientific. I don't think it needed to go in depth with the science. It did. I think it just needed more action scenes like the beginning, but I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really liked it. It's really short too. I think it's 180 pages, and I think it could have used a little bit more, like 20 more pages or so, and again, more action, because that was like so fun. It was so fun. And it was so fun too to be like in that town, and the men responding to this are like, well, we knew those meetings were gonna do something, you know, like that was hilarious. The commentary is hilarious. So yeah, 4 stars. Highly recommend checking this out on archive.org. I did look up getting a physical copy of this. It is a bit pricier of the paperbacks from hell because I don't think it's ever been reprinted. But yeah, you can check it out on archive.org. It's a good time. And then I read Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This is a Carmilla, I almost said Wuthering Heights, not Wuthering Heights. What is the other Bronte book I'm totally blanking on right now? Oh my gosh, that's driving me crazy. But it's like a vampire, like, homage to the Bronte sister books. I don't know. I'm getting them all confused now. But I really liked this one too. The way this is narrated, I did the audio of course, is that the main character is telling you all of her secrets. She's like, hey girlie, this is what is happening to me. And you're like, I'm here with you. And yeah, you feel so close and so connected to this character. And it doesn't really like give you space to even breathe and be like, well, maybe we want to get to know Carmilla. Not really. She's more mysterious figure in this. Like, you were so in the main character's head, it's almost suffocating at times, because she's smart and she understands what's going on. So she's basically kind of forced to marry this guy. He's kind of a douchebag, and yeah, they end up coming across a carriage wreck and meeting Carmilla, and Carmilla comes to stay with them, and then other things start to happen. I really like this. It kind of gave a little bit of the you can't really trust the narrator either. That's why it felt so suffocating at times, because it's like, well, if only I had another POV or something. And I think that was very clever of the author to just leave you with the main character. And I really liked it. I liked the ending a ton. And it is good for her. Good for her, 100%, 5 stars. And then as an honorable mention for my feminist horror vlog, I was going to mention I read a Kristen Hanna book, which is historical fiction, not horror, but in reality, The Dust Bowl was a fucking horror show. This book had me in tears as well. I did the audio, like, it took me like a day and a half or so to listen to it. It's a pretty chunky book, but I was addicted. I was like, I need to know. And yeah, it is about the Dust Bowl during the Great Depression, and I thought it was only going to be about that, but it actually takes on a really complex, interesting political story of the migration of the Dust Bowl refugees to California, and I had no idea that any of that ever happened. So that was such a unique, interesting part of the story of history, and history repeating itself. I have goosebumps now thinking about it. But I cried, of course I cried, and I loved it. It was so good. Kristen Hanna wrote this book, studying and reading all the memoirs of the women that lived during this era and survived the Dust Bowl, and they kept journals, and wow, really, really moving stuff, and so relevant today. So yeah, honorable mention there. 2 short story collections of feminist horror. Every Woman Knows This by Laurel Hightower. I did like this. I enjoyed it, but nothing really stood out. The first story I really liked. And then yeah, nothing, they all kind of felt the same. And yeah, that's my biggest critique on this one. So I gave it 3 stars. And then this collection, Femina by Kaylin Merceau. This author had a blast with this collection. You could tell each story is very different. There's body horror, there's sci-fi, there's found footage, there's poems broken up. This one too also had like micro horrors in it as well, that leaned more medical at times, which I did think was interesting. So yeah, I did read this one much faster than the the Laurel Hightower book, sadly. But I ended up giving this 4 stars, and yeah, 3 stars. Still really solid collections. But yeah, this one I was just like, okay, what's next here? I'm very intrigued. Then I read The Lamb by Lucy Rose. This was the last book I read of March, and boy, oh boy, did it take me like a solid 8 days to listen to this book. I had to keep turning it off. I had to keep turning it off because I am a snacker. I didn't realize I eat a lot apparently. And I would like find myself like eating carrots or something, and they're like talking about cannibalism. Yeah, this is a cannibalism story, a mother-daughter story. And honestly, my biggest takeaway from this story is how messed up forced labor is. Like, how pro-life this is. This is a pro-life story through and through. For me personally, that's what I took away from it. I know a lot of women are taking away other things from it, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I think you should be, I think everybody should read this story and be like, yeah, we need pro-choice. We need that to happen, because the damaging effects of it, I was just like not expecting it to be that, to take that route, right? I thought it was more of an us against them thing that would happen in it, or like the outside and the other, but no, it is a it's like a feminist horror story about motherhood. And yeah, it's very sad. And I was gutted afterwards. I was like numb. I don't know if I'll ever read again. No. I was like that. I was like, what other book can I read after this? I don't know. I really liked it. I do feel like there was a little bit of a drag in this, though, in the third act or so, or like the third, like before the climax. I feel like it could have been shortened a little bit. But other than that, it was so good. I'm giving it 4.5 stars all around, up to 5 on Goodreads, but definitely worth checking out. And how exciting. This is an exciting time for feminist horror, I think. But what was some of your favorite books you read in March? And let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!